When you think of the Mafia, certain names come to mind: Al Capone, John Gotti, Lucky Luciano. But there's one name that stands out for his ruthless grip on power and his ability to play the long game: Joseph Bonanno. A man whose life in organized crime spanned decades, filled with deception, ambition, and sheer evil. Today, we're diving deep into the true story of one of the Mafia's most dangerous figures. The rise of Joseph Bonanno. Joseph Bonanno's rise from humble beginnings to becoming one of the most feared Mafia bosses in history is nothing short of extraordinary. Born in 1905 in Sicily, Bonanno came from a poor family. But what makes his story stand out isn't just where he came from. It's how he used the harsh realities of his early life to fuel his ambition and climb to the top of the Mafia world. A poor start in Sicily. Joseph Bonanno's story begins like so many others in the world of organized crime, marked by hardship. Growing up in Sicily, Bonanno was no stranger to the struggles of poverty, but rather than let it hold him back, he saw it as the first step in his journey towards something bigger. Sicily, a place with deep ties to the Mafia, was not a place for dreamers. It was a place where power was measured by your connections and your ability to survive. And Joseph knew how to survive. As a young man, Bonanno saw firsthand the way the Mafia controlled everything, from local businesses to the lives of everyday people. It was a world where loyalty meant everything, and success was often measured by your ruthlessness and cunning. It wasn't long before Bonanno realized that this world, despite its dangers, offered a path to power and prosperity, one that seemed almost unreachable for someone from a poor family like his. But for Bonanno, it wasn't just about survival. He wanted to thrive, and to do that, he had to leave Sicily behind. A new life in America. In the early 1920s, Bonanno moved to the United States, following the well-worn path of countless other Italian immigrants seeking a better life. But instead of working a dead-end job or blending into the crowd, Bonanno quickly immersed himself in New York's criminal underworld. It was a city where ambition could lead you to unimaginable power, but only if you had the right connections and the stomach for what it took to get there. From the start, Bonanno showed he wasn't just another wise guy trying to make a quick buck. He had a vision to expand the Mafia's reach and grow its influence. He wasn't satisfied with petty crime. Bonanno wanted to build something bigger, something that would stand the test of time. Climbing the ranks, Bonanno didn't take the usual route into organized crime. He didn't simply work his way up by brute force or by playing dirty. He made strategic alliances with other Mafia families and built relationships that would serve him well in the future. In a world where trust was scarce, Bonanno understood that forging strong bonds with others was key to climbing the Mafia ranks. By the time he was in his early 30s, Bonanno had already begun making waves. His ambition, cunning, and ability to network within the underworld helped him secure the position of boss of the Bonanno crime family. But Joseph Bonanno's rise wasn't just about power within his own family. He didn't just want to be the top dog in one organization. He wanted to control as much of the Mafia empire as possible. Bonanno understood that to truly solidify his power, he had to unite various families under his leadership. He worked behind the scenes, forming alliances with the other 4 families that controlled New York's criminal enterprises. A master of strategy. While others were focused on short-term gains, Bonanno was playing the long game. He wasn't just after quick wins. He was building a criminal empire that would span generations. Bonanno wasn't the flashiest or most violent of leaders. Instead, he relied on his sharp intellect, patience, and ability to outmaneuver his rivals. He knew that loyalty was the backbone of the Mafia, and he built his network of alliances on that principle. Over the years, Bonanno expanded his family's operations. For him, everything was about control. Control over the streets, control over the families, and control over the future of the Mafia itself. A new godfather. Joseph Bonanno's rise to power marked the beginning of a new era in the Mafia's history. No longer was the Mafia a disorganized group of thugs. Under Bonanno, it was a well-oiled machine, capable of making millions of dollars while maintaining an iron grip on New York's underworld. By the time he reached his 30s, Joseph Bonanno was not just the boss of a crime family, he was becoming the godfather of a new kind of mafia, one that was smarter, more strategic, and more dangerous than ever before. What set Joseph Bonanno apart from others was his ability to think several steps ahead. He wasn't just about brute force. He understood the art of manipulation, the importance of loyalty, and the necessity of expanding his influence. Bonanno was known for being a shrewd strategist, working quietly behind the scenes, pulling the strings while others fought for the spotlight. His cool demeanor and calculated moves made him a force to be reckoned with. Under Bonanno's leadership, the Bonanno family became one of the 5 families of New York, cementing their dominance in everything from gambling to extortion, racketeering to murder. He created a criminal empire that spanned the United States, even spreading into Canada. But tension reached its boiling point in 1964, when Bonanno was famously kidnapped and disappeared for several years. Bonanno's disappearance was his own doing. He staged it as a way to regroup and regain control of his family. He returned in the late 1960s, and his reemergence sent shockwaves through the Mafia. This war for power saw Bonanno embroiled in bloody confrontations with rival families, with murders becoming a regular part of the power struggle. Through it all, Bonanno remained focused on one goal: to ensure his family's dominance, even if it meant eliminating anyone who got in his way. Whether it was enforcers or rivals, Joseph Bonanno wasn't afraid to stain his hands with blood to protect his empire. The years after his return were filled with scheming, killings, and power plays that solidified his reputation as one of the most dangerous men in the Mafia. And in the early 1980s, Bonanno was forced into retirement. His power, influence, and life of luxury were stripped away. Joseph Bonanno spent his last years living quietly in Arizona, far removed from the criminal world he once ruled with an iron fist. He passed away in 2002, but his legacy as one of the most ruthless and calculating mafia bosses lives on. The true story: legacy of evil. Joseph Bonanno was no ordinary mafia boss. He was a man who manipulated his way to the top, built an empire that reached across borders, and controlled his family with brutal efficiency. His ability to control people through fear, loyalty, and manipulation made him a legend in the underworld, and a nightmare to those who crossed him. He wasn't just a mobster, he was a criminal mastermind, playing the long game with no remorse for the lives he ruined along the way. Joseph Bonanno's story is one of betrayal, power, and survival. A man who went from an ambitious immigrant to it's a reminder of the darkness that can reside in those who crave control, and the devastating consequences of crossing someone like Joseph Bonanno. In the world of the Mafia, there's no shortage of evil, but Joseph Bonanno's name stands as a testament to the true depths of a man's ambition, and the lengths he'll go to maintain his empire. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comment section.